And look at me, I actually have a video up for today. What's up guys, it is me Cheryl, and well, you guys got your video. You guys don't really know who I am, and why not do the first time tag?
For the first time in forever, there'll be music, there'll be light. For the first time in forever, I'll be dancing through the night.
Alright, let's do this. 50 questions for 50 firsts. Some of them I may not have done, so let's go. What was your first car? I can't drive yet, so... Well, I guess it's my mom's CRV, 2001 CRV, I think that's what it was. It has my name on it. Who was the first person who you cared more about their well-being than your own? I honestly don't know. Oh, my best friend. All of my best friends. You know, I'm that type of person who will, make sure that they're okay before I'm actually okay. Whoa, this lighting is so good. Let me just adjust it a little bit. When was your first public speaking success? Whenever I did a project for school, I had to speak in front of the class, and yeah. When was the first time you got stitches? I got stitches when I was like 3rd grade, I think. I got stitches on my chin, and I still have a little scar, but it's barely visible. When was the first time you stayed up all night and watched the sunrise? I think when I fully actually did that, it was actually freshman year when I stayed up to do a project, and that was the very first time I actually full on pulled an all-nighter. What was the first thing you learned to cook? Saimin, or ramen noodles. Yeah. What was your first paying job? I don't have a job. When was the first time you flew in an airplane? When I was 3 and I went to the Philippines. What was the first concert you went to see? I've never been to an actual concert, you see someone famous, so can't really say. What was your first bike like? My first bike was this pink little bike with training wheels, and as I got older, the training wheels started to bend up like that, and then and since they couldn't touch the ground anymore, it was me basically balancing on the 2 wheels, and that's when I learned how to ride a 2-wheeler. When was the first time you shot a gun? I had a BB gun. Does that count? I don't know. When was the first time you moved houses? I moved houses when I was, I think, 4 or 5. I moved from living with my auntie guys to actually having a house of our own, so yeah. When was the first time you threw a punch? First day of kindergarten, this girl stole my name tag, and I decided to give her a punch to the eye, and I got in trouble. When was the first time you quit a job? Never had a job, so don't know what that feels like. What was the first professional sporting event you went to? Last year, when I went to California, I actually went to watch the Dodgers game. Dodgers versus Angels at the Dodger Stadium. I had no idea what was going on. When was the first time you realized you were good at your job? I don't have a job. I wouldn't know. When was your first regrettable hairstyle? 7th grade, I told my mom to cut my hair to look like Katie's hair, 2008 Katy Perry, which was right here in bangs. It didn't turn out so good, and yeah, no good. What was your first business venture? None. How old were you when you first left home? Left home? What is that supposed to mean? How old were you when you had your first kiss? When was the first time you went fishing? I went fishing 4 or 5 years old, and I lost my slipper. It came off my foot, and then it started floating in the ocean, and it just started to push farther and farther, and I missed that. I was crying. How old were you when you got your first computer? Sometime in elementary school. When was the first time you stood up for yourself? Well, considering I punched a girl to get my ID back, Does that count? What was the first big ticket item you purchased? I don't know. What was the first book that made you cry? It was that book where Zac Efron was that soldier dude and he found his picture and then he found the girl. I forgot what it's called. It's The Lucky One. That's what it's called, The Lucky One. It made me cry. Where was your first road trip? California to Vegas last year. Why did you break up with your first boyfriend/girlfriend? What was the first thing you ever won? Like real, like thing, basketball. I won my first game. Who was your first best friend? You know who you are. I'm not gonna name names, but yeah. When was the first time you let a friend down? 2nd grade, Valatia. I'm not gonna go into any further explanation/details. And Valatia, if you're watching this, I think you can figure out what I'm talking about. You believe in love at first sight? Sure. When was the first Christmas you realized that Santa Claus was not real? I think it was 4th, 5th grade. Oh, when was your first trip to Vegas? Last year, summer. Yeah, I went there. We drove from California to Vegas and spent the weekend there and then drove back. That's scary but fun. I don't like going to the Vegas trip, but yeah. When was the first time people looked to you in a crisis? When they didn't know what to do for homework. When was the first time you realized that you were smarter than your parents? Anything high tech, that's when it started. Who was your first sweetheart that you took home to meet your parents? No one. Who was your first love? When was the first time you realized that you were in way over your head? I don't know. What was your first phone number? The house phone number. What was your first time in the hospital? When I was born. When was the first time you finished something really big? Well, I had a buffet meal and yeah, it was delicious. When was the first time you took responsibility for someone else's mistake? Sometime in school, I don't know. When was the first time you saw the ocean? Who knows? Like a long time ago, when I was a baby. I live in an island. I'm surrounded by ocean. How old were you when you first drank alcohol? Not old enough. Who was the first person you had a crush on? Felicia knows the answer. That's all I'm gonna say. Who was the first person you voted for? I don't know who I voted for. What was your first email address? Same email address as my email address now. What was your first slow dance like? I wouldn't know. Who was the first person to have a crush on you? How would I know that? What do you remember about your first day of school? I punched a girl in the face to get my ID. When was the first time someone close to you died? When I was like 4. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Well, it says that I'm done with the quiz/tag. So was that 50 questions? I don't know, you tell me. If you guys haven't noticed, Channel of Teens hasn't been uploading lately, but next week is actually its 1-year anniversary of actually starting. Unfortunately, I wasn't part of the channel when it first started, but rather against the channel, and now I'm part of it, so it's actually nice to be with friends. We're actually planning to start up again soon, trying to get in that mojo before school starts, because sophomore year is just as bad as freshman year. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. Please give this a thumbs up. Comment down any first times that you can relate to. Make sure you subscribe, all of that. Go check Channel of Teens, go watch my recent video. I forgot to record this part, but also follow me on all my social media links down below in the down bar. But other than that, I'm gonna go. I will see you guys next week. Goodbye.
Turn it up.